Welcome to Factly, the place of interesting and unusual facts. Top 10 unusual facts about koalas. Probably the most symbolic animal of Australia is the koala. This tree-climbing species is a marsupial, or a mammal with a pouch for the development of the young, sometimes known as the koala bear. Koala's fur resembles the coarse wool of sheep more than its fuzzy appearance would suggest. Their hands and feet have rough pads and claws to grasp the branches, and they have two opposing thumbs on each hand. On their feet, they have two fused toes that they utilize to comb their fur. So let's jump right into the video with number 1. Koalas are picky eaters. Koalas typically consume only 50 of the approximately 700 different varieties of eucalyptus trees found across the world. In a point of fact, individual koalas will typically stick to eating only 1 to 3 particular species of eucalyptus on a consistent basis, reserving the remaining species for the occasional snack or place to rest. Even yet, they will continue to climb to the very top of the trees that are the tallest in order to obtain the very best leaves, which have a higher concentration of both moisture and nutrition. Eucalyptus is toxic, so the koala's digestive system has to work hard to digest it, breaking down the toxins and extracting the limited nutrients. That also brings me to number 2. Koalas, they have to eat a lot. Eucalyptus, their primarily food source, like I said, is poisonous. It's also fibrous and not particularly nourishing. Even though they have a cecum that is extremely long to aid in digestion and the breakdown of fiber, they can only absorb about 25% of what they eat, which is why they need to eat so much of that food. In actuality, the adult koala consumes about 1.5 to 1 kilograms of leaf each night. You'll realize why they sleep that 18 to 20 hours a day if you consider how you feel after a large meal. Koalas typically don't drink a lot of water because these leaves provide the majority of their moisture needs. Even after eating, koalas may keep their leaves in their cheek pouches. They consume so much eucalyptus that they frequently smell like it. And as you might imagine, spending all that time in trees does make for a pretty sore tushy. Fortunately, they have strong cartilage at the end of their curved spine, which allows them to live comfortably in those arboreal homes. Number 3. Wild Koala Day exists. Wild Koala Day, observed annually on May 3rd, was created by concerned koala conservationists in Australia to honor this species and save its habitats. Everyone is invited to participate. They are urged to wear a shirt with a gum leaf, or another leaf if you don't have access to eucalyptus. They can change their profile picture to a koala and or post a koala photo on social media with the hashtag #WildKoalaDay. The day brings environmentalists, wildlife activists, and conservationists together in a movement for the protection and the preservation of koala habitats. Because we all know koalas deserve to be celebrated every day. While they are native and unique to Australia, the quest to save them has to be global. And that's why the International Koala Day appears to the entire world when they come to the aid of koalas. Number 4. Koalas are loners. Koalas are solitary animals that remain within their home ranges their entire lives, and they generally respect the territory limits of others. Mature male koalas have scent glands in the center of their chests that secrete a dark, sticky substance that they rub on trees to mark their territory. The size of the koala's home range varies depending on the koala's sex, age, social position, and the quality of its habitat. Koalas live in a variety of environments. They are experiencing a significant amount of stress as a result of human activities such as deforestation, climate change, and other activities that have brought them closer to us. Number 5. Joeys are very attached to their mamas. As marsupials, they have very preterm births, and their young, which are called joeys, continue to grow in the mother's sac. These deaf, blind, and hairless infants navigate to the pouch using their highly developed sense of smell, touch, and the innate sense of orientation. There, they know to latch onto the teat. Once they are connected, the teat enlarges in their mouths and bonds them to their food source, allowing the mother to move about freely. They stay with their moms until another joey is born, which is usually 1 to 3 years after they spend about 6 months in the pouch and another 6 months or so riding on her belly or her back. Number 6. Koala comes from an Aboriginal word. There are a number of native Australian creatures, like the koala, whose names originate from one of those indigenous languages. The word koala originates from a Durung language phrase that translates to no water. This is a true description of koalas, as they typically do not drink water that is standing alone. They instead gain that moisture they need from the diet consisting of those eucalyptus leaves, and they have been known to suck the rainwater that drips down from the bark of trees. They can and do drink from creeks and waterholes if necessary, but if you happen to see a koala drinking, that koala is probably in distress. Number 7. Did you know koalas have fingerprints? In fact, they're the only animals other than primates that have them, and just like us, each one is individual. They have unique patterns on their noses, which helps wildlife biologists to identify and track them. Just like us, they have those fingerprints and they are completely unique to each of them. In fact, they're so similar to human fingerprints that it's extremely difficult to distinguish the two species, even under a microscope. And I did mention their thumbs before, but unlike us, they have 2 on each hand. Number 8. Koalas can live more than a decade. In the wild, koalas often survive for around 10 to 12 years. They begin to migrate away from their mother's care when they are 12 months old, and by the time they are 2 to 3 years old, they begin to procreate. In the wild, female koalas typically live longer, and they've even been known to live up to around 18 years. Number 9. There are less koalas than ever before. Due to fur harvesting in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, koala populations have drastically decreased. They are currently under grave danger because of habitat loss. Much of the forest they reside in has been devastated by land clearing, logging, and bushfires, particularly the terrible 2019 and 2020 season. The fact that koalas require a lot of space, roughly 100 trees per animal, becomes a major issue as Australia's woodlands continue to disappear. The International Union for Conservation of Nature has recognized koalas as one of the top 10 creatures most at risk from climate change and has designated the species as vulnerable. Eucalyptus leaves' nutritional value, which is already relatively low, is declining due to the rising atmospheric carbon dioxide, which is also resulting in longer, more severe droughts and wildfires. Drought forces koalas to cease sleeping and descend from the trees in search of water, using up valuable energy and increasing their vulnerability to predators. Dingoes and big owls are 2 of the predators that they most look out for. Additionally, they run the risk of being attacked by dogs and being hit by cars when they're on the ground. In some koala populations, chlamydia is common and can lead to blindness, infertility, and occasionally even death. Number 10. Koalas are totally unique. A common misconception is that they're bears, but they're actually not. Their closest relative is the wombat, many times removed. They are also the only living members of their family, the Phascolarctidae, which, like that word, are unlike anything else on this planet. Like I mentioned before, each front paw has 5 digits, 2 of which are opposed, similar to our thumbs, and able to move separately from the others. But on their hind paws, the 2nd and 3rd digits are fused together for grooming. Well, that brings us to the end of our totally awesome, unusual facts about koalas. I'll see you in the next video.